Hello and good morning, and yes, it is I, the conspicuous Moo. And I thought today we'd just pop down to the local Shadow-Mart and see if we can snag ourselves a couple of bargains in the upcoming Shadowlands dungeons. But before we get into that, we'll just do a little bit of news of, what are you doing now, Blizzard? And yes, then we'll get straight into it. See if we can snag ourselves a couple of absolutely priceless items. So, let's get cracking. First, a bit of good news, or is it? I'm not really sure. Secondary stat scaling gets a buff. Now, if you weren't aware what secondary stat scaling was, it was a new system that they were introducing to basically cap off and prevent you from stacking too much of one certain stat. This is all based off of your gear. It wouldn't affect your skills and abilities and cooldowns, etc. But basically up to 25% of any secondary stat, say haste, it would be absolutely fine, but if you accumulated more haste rating after that off your gear, you would start to get diminishing returns, 10%, 20%, 30% penalty as shown on screen. Well, they have upped it a little now, so the penalty will start kicking in at around 30%, and there's an additional 50% penalty, and the new ceiling is 126% rating before you get absolutely no return from stacking an additional secondary stat. So yes, you could argue that this is a buff, and you'd be absolutely right, but you could also argue that this is trying to find a solution to a problem that they have created themselves by having 4 different levels of raid item rewards over 4 or 5 raids and expansion. So it's difficult to get very excited about this, but I guess we'll take it. In other well, yes, what are you doing, Blizzard? They introduced an error string that said you need to be in the Shadowlands to use that, and that was very nice, and it was basically designed to say, you can't use Soul Shape, you can't use Thayline Stomp, you can't use any of your Covenant abilities outside of the Shadowlands itself, so you can't Soul Shape through your old raids, etc. Needless to say, there's arguments on both sides, but the majority of the arguments were this is a very, very silly decision, and Blizzard finally agreed, or caved in, or changed their mind, or shouldn't have announced it in the first place. Whatever, they decided to backtrack on that and go, oh, actually, we were thinking about it, but we won't now. But yes, I'm glad that Blizzard has decided to address the conspicuous Moo in the corner, which was, of course, mana regeneration while drinking. They've now instituted a change whereby when you start to drink, it's very, very slow, and then it builds up to a crescendo of mana after that. Presumably this is an arena change, or a let's make Mythic Plus even more difficult for healers change. I really do feel sorry for any of you who do play Mistweaver, because they already have mana issues, and this is not going to help whatsoever in either PvE or PvP. I don't know about you, but every time I go for a pint, I always start off very, very slowly, and then I just tip the whole lot over my head. I mean, isn't that why everyone drinks stuff these days? Sorry, I do get a little bit annoyed by this. If you've seen previous videos, you know that I'm not a fan of the, okay, you filled that bar, come back tomorrow, or the, oh, you can only hit 6 of those targets even though there's 9 of them, and you've got the swirling, rushing wind around you. And this just seems like yet another decision. It's like, where if we were all fine with you getting additional time, but we would have preferred you focusing on things which maybe were important. Anyway, enough of that nonsense, let's get shopping. So, at 60 you do have a large amount of different sources for gear. You have the Covenant armor sets that you get from just doing your Covenant campaign. They are upgradable, but it probably isn't worth it. You'll probably get much better gear much faster and doing different parts, but they're very pretty, and they have some nice around the world bonuses to go. We've got rare monsters and treasures all over the maps again, so some of those do drop 155 eye level gear. And hopefully the treasures have something a little bit more interesting than war resources or anima and a couple of greys. Moving on, normal dungeons, this is what I'm going to look at today. 158 eye level base, but of course this is also going to apply to Mythic Plus as well, so you're going to get all these bits of gear but substantially higher values. So part of the shopping expedition is to have a look at what we're sort of going to be aiming for in general in the dungeons and the expansion, and then you can just sort of multiply that up as you hit your Mythic level 25 plus with your Celestial Brew that never breaks. The rank 1 PvP Sinful Aspirant gear which is purchasable with honour, I believe, is 158 eye level as well. The blue crafted gear from some people, including the rings and is it Shadow-Hide? I can't remember what the leather version is, but it's 165 eye level anyway. And there is a weekly world boss as well, and that would start at 187. And before we forget, of course, we also have the legendaries, which will start at 190 if you want to rank 1. And you probably, I mean, it's up to you. I mean, look at this thing. It is a thing of beauty. I'm just gonna go straight for it. I'm just gonna get my first legendary straight out the gate. The other option is that you can save all of your soul ash for 4 weeks and then just get a rank 4 straight off the bat. But you know, you can also upgrade as you go, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my shiny orange piece of gear, and then I'll just upgrade it as I go, and I'll be very powerful and I'll enjoy it, and it's probably going to be Charred Passions right now. In terms of stats, and the way that I've planned out the gear here is, it does look an awful lot like, at the moment anyway, that we're going to have pretty much the same priority that we had for Battle for Azeroth. So, Larold has started doing the Wellhead Guide for Brewmasters in 9.0.1, which I strongly recommend you have a look at, and I will link in the description, if I remember. But it does look like the stats will start with, you know, does it have a socket? Awesome. Then you go by eye level, then versatility, then crit, then mastery a little further down the line, and then haste. I haven't added agility here because you'll be getting that off all of your gear anyway. But yeah, I'm largely in agreement here. I think that's probably what the priority is going to be. So yeah, most of the stuff you'll find on this list is going to be crit verse at the top. Then, you know, you have verse mastery, crit mastery, and there won't be any haste items at all. So this headpiece is very, very nice. Reminds me a little bit of those Doctor Who things. Do you remember the Doctor Cyclotrons or something? Anyway, it doesn't matter. The Hood of Refracted Shadows is its name. It's the only one I could find with crit mastery on it. And yeah, it's the only one that doesn't have haste as well. So this is probably going to be your first pick in most instances. Next, got a couple of options here. The Azure Venom Choker is donated by Kintar in the Spires of Ascension. Crit and verse, can't go wrong. Or you've got the Trail Spinner Pendant as well. The Mistcaller will drop that for you in the Mists of Turner Scythe? Scythe? Don't know. One of those. Shoulders! We love shoulders. They keep our clothes on. And the Malodorous Gristlesown Spaulders. Probably going to be the ones of choice for you. Some nice versatility and mastery. The equip has... So I don't know whether you're going to get discarded flesh and gristle all over you from this, but anyway, Dr. Icarus, rather aptly named for this thing, is in Plaguefall and would like to give it to you. So, but you know, if you don't feel like that, there is a slight variant in the Undying Chill shoulder pads. Now they dropped from Nelthor the Rhinebender in Necrotic Wake, and you know, both designs have a slightly Argosy feel to them. Definitely not my favourite design, but that's what Transmog is for. If you're looking for a cloak to wow the masses, Dealer Zizex's Cape is probably your go. Donated by Dealer Zizexa on the other side. It's got versatility and mastery. Incidentally, you know, look at the drop rates on this. They look kind of crazy. They are crazy. So don't worry about the drop rates in these videos because you know, it's only a very, very small portion of people who are A, doing the beta, and B, using the Wowhead client to record the drop rates. So, you know, these are probably not the right drop chances right now. But anyway, yes, you can go for the Dealer's Cape, or, you know, if you want some Cloak of Enveloping Manifestations, nice Crit Mastery Cape, that's the other option. Executor Tarvold in the Sanguine Depths, which you will be visiting a lot, has that on offer for you as well. Mr. Rosato believes in a healthy chest, and so do I. The Anima Splattered Hide. It's got crit and verse, so automatic favourite for me. Crixus the Voracious in Sanguine Depths is going to give this to you. Well, he's not going to give it, you're going to pluck it off his corpse. But in any case, a very worthy donation. The freshly embalmed jerkin is dropping from Surgeon Stitchflesh in the Necrotic Wake. And before I go on, I should give some credit to our model today, Matilda, who's very generously taken some time out from her other modelling roles, to give us an idea of what all these things look like. So good on you, Matty. Love your work. Your outfit will never be complete without the requisite sweatbands as well. You know, just to wipe your brow every time you're torpedoing through another set of mobs. And we have the Bands of the Undergrowth for you here. Crit and Verse, very nice. Tread Over, in the midst of Turn Aside, is going to be giving you those ones. But there are a couple of other quite excellent options too. The Radiant Light Braces, Grand Proctor Berelia in the Sanguine Depths will give those to you. Or you've got the Fastened Venom Barb Binds. It's Domina Venom Blade. She sounds nice. In Plaguefall. So, you know, both of those, it's all one of a muchness really. But yeah, all of those are pretty good options. I don't know about you, I love my legs. I want to look after them. And what would be better than a pair of the Fearless Challengers leggings? Now this is donated by Zav the Unfallen, who's likely to fall shortly in the Theatre of Pain. Unfortunately, I think Maddie just has the same skin colour as the legs. I don't think they're really this unfinished. But I'm sure you get an absolutely lovely pair from Zav if he's in the mood. And, you know, Crit Mastery, so this is another of those areas where there's not a lot of very, very exciting options. And where would we be without feet? Probably have to fit wheels to our ankles. Ew. The Viscera Stitched Foot Pads, Crit and Verse, Blightborn, Necrotic Wake. You'd be mad to miss it. If you're fancying something with a slightly lighter tinge, then you've got the Primeval Souls Ankle Guards. So they're donated by Mwazala in the other side. And you know, Crit Mastery, pretty solid overall. Now we're into my favourite bit. The rings, the trinks, the weapons. For the rings, it's an interesting situation for us because our two best rings, best, according to Moo, are in Sanguine Depths. So Nalthor the Rhinebinder would like to give you the Ritual Commander's Ring. And you can put a deposit on Crixus the Voracious's Entwined Gorger Tendril as well. Now both of these are crit verse, so they are very, very good indeed. And that's pretty much all the rings that we need. But you know, if you need additional rings, like you need to put them up your nose or swallow them, then Kultharok in the Theatre of Pain has the Ritual Bone Band. Now that's versatility and mastery, so you know that's also pretty strong stats. Mordretha, the Endless Empress in the Theatre of Pain, has the Ring of Perpetual Conflict, which is a crit mastery ring, and Gorchop, also in the Theatre of Pain. It's like all of our decent rings drop in 2 dungeons. Awesome. Has got the Flesh Fuse Circle, so you know there's another option as well. So, but yeah, basically the top 2, as long as you've got those, you'll be golden. Golden! Now, trinkets. Trinkets is always an interesting one because, you know, I'm checking a lot of logs at the moment. I'm going through what I can find, and I'm looking for trinkets that are attracting attention, you know, because they're doing a lot of damage, or they're doing a lot of healing, or people are talking about them in excited circles. And these 3 are the ones that are standing out at the moment. Now, the Blood Spattered Scale is from Hakar the Soulflayer. The Soulflayer comes! Again! In the other side, and yes, this is very nice. I mean, damage-wise, it's not remarkable. It'll be in your top 10 of damage abilities on a typical log, and the blood barriers defensive parts are in about the middle. So you know, it's pretty used, and it's an on-use trinket, and I'm a bit weird like that. You know, I do like one that's just equip and you just proc and you do your thing, but I also like one where I have the option to employ it. So. Yeah, I usually like half and half, and that's perfect for me. So yeah, Blood Spattered Scale, probably going to be a top pick for me, and probably should be a top pick for you. The Beating Abomination Core is a World Quest reward. Of course it is. We're thinking at the moment that it probably will scale up to eye level 200, but of course you'll have to be closer to eye level 200 in order to get it at that level. Comes with a couple of sockets, which is always nice, and gives us a little bit of extra flexibility. The equip is the key part of this. The taking damage has a chance to heal you, and any other healing is converted into an absorb. Perfectly creative for Brewmasters, because we, you know, whenever we're in stagger, it doesn't matter what level, we are taking damage every half a second. So this thing procs a lot, and that is reflected in the logs. This is usually top 3, top 4 in healing. You know, because when it can't heal, it's going to convert it into an absorb anyway. So it's performing really, really well on the beta at the moment. So hopefully they don't do anything to it. It's a very, very good starter trinket though. You know, lots of strong defensive value, definitely worth looking out for. The final one is more of a DPS option. If you're feeling comfortable with your defensives and stuff and you don't feel that you need additional defensive strength, then the File of Putrefaction is donated by Dr. Ickes and Plagueful, and at the moment this is doing a crazy amount of damage. In the Brewmaster logs I've seen, it's around about 20% of your overall damage has been done by this one trinket. So, I mean, there is a suspicion that's probably going to be nerfed back substantially because that's a rather powerful one at the moment. But it is an on-equip, and you know, every 5 seconds your next melee ability applies Liquefying Ooze, dealing nature damage over 12 seconds, and it stacks up to 3 times. But yeah, at the moment, doing great. Hope it won't be nerfed because it is like a very, very appealing option for us. But you know, generally overall, those are the 3 trinkets that are attracting the most attention right now. Okay, weapons. So if you're not aware, we are getting dual wield back. So we can dual wield or have a two-hander in Shadowlands, so that's very nice. And a very commonly occurring question is which one is better. Now at the moment we don't really know because we're not entirely sure that everything has been done tuning wise for this. Dual wield at the moment is probably ahead just because you can put dual enchants on your weapons, and the enchant of choice at the moment looks to be Lightless Force. Now, Lightless Force is rather powerful. It was absurdly powerful earlier on, but they nerfed it back a bit. It's still very, very good though. I mean, it does a significant portion of your auto-attack damage, and you do high melee damage in general with dual wield. The trade-off for that is that the abilities you use will hit for less. The two-hander you will get more bang out of your blackout kicks, etc. Though you will have less melee damage. So at the moment we suspect that it's likely that they're going to put some sort of modifier in for two hands just to balance it off with the dual wield. And you also have to bear in mind, of course, that you know there are a lot of dual wield classes in World of Warcraft, and you know you going around rolling on one-handers when they're not used to you having one-handers might cause a little bit of friction. So for safety's sake I'm going to start with a two-hander, and then I will move to one-hander when I've got a couple that are worth enchanting. So for two-handed weapons, not a massive amount of options. You've got Devos's Cacophonous Poleaxe, so you have a polearm versus mastery. Probably the better choice of the two. This is donated by Devos and the Spires of Ascension. Or you have the also rather pretty Quarterstaff of Discordant Ethics. This is dropped by Azules, also in the Spires of Ascension. So I guess you're going to the Spires of Ascension for two-handers. And this is a crit mastery one, so you know, either or for those, but you know, pretty solid. They're quite pretty too. And if you want to take one-handed weapons, or you're brave enough to take them off your fellow melees, Bloodspiller looks like the front line. Once again, Hakar the Soulflare coming through for us in the other side. Crit and verse, very nice, very tasty. It's a very nice model too. You've got the Penitent Edge as well. This is from Ventanax and the Spires of Ascension, which is a crit mastery, and also another crit mastery, it doesn't really matter either or, is a mace. So you have a mace, an axe and a sword. Echelon and the Halls of Atonement would like to give you this item, which is called the Stone Guardian's Morning Star. So yeah, a little bit of fun, just pop through to Shadow-Mart, see if we can pick up some bargains, and you know, there's a lot on offer there. I do like the fact that, you know, our rings and our two-handers are just all in one place. You don't even have to go to a different aisle. It's all right there for you. So, like, comment, subscribe, share, and moo! And, of course, happy pre-patch day. Now, technically it's not pre-patch day here. That doesn't happen until tomorrow, because we're ahead of you guys. We're in the future and everything is just fine. They have made an announcement very, very recently that the pre-patch maintenance is going to take 8 hours. If you have any experience of pre-patches like this, it's not going to be 8 hours, it's probably going to be closer to 12. I wouldn't expect to log in straight on, but once you do get in, and they've finished and everything's fine, have some fun, play around a Brewmaster, see what you think of it, run a couple of dungeons with your new Celestial Brew. I think you'll probably enjoy yourself greatly. Anyway, I am the Conspicuous Moo, and a very, very good morning to you.